Hey guys, and welcome to game 27 out of 100 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top online Scrabble bot, HastyBot. We're on, I believe, a 5-game win streak now, and currently sit at 16-10 in the series. So let's see if we can keep up the momentum here in game 27. We're going to be first, and we've got a promising looking rack, just a little bit too heavy on the consonants. D, E, S, T, of course, all very strong bingo tiles. So options here, we could play Keg, which gets rid of our K and our G, which are the two sort of troublesome tiles. I don't love that it keeps 4 consonants, but I do like I said, that it gets rid of the K and the G, and also sets up an S hook on both sides, since Kegs, of course, is good, as is Skeg. So that looks decent. So let's see, we also could play Ket, which scores a few more, gets rid of an extra consonant. Does keep the G, which I don't love quite as much. I guess you could exchange down to like TES or TEHS. I just don't really think it's worth it. That's a pretty big point sacrifice over either Ket or Keg. Probably Ket is just better. I think Keg just keeps one too many consonants. And overall, DTHS has more synergy than DGS, but it's just so much more likely to turn into a situation where we have one vowel again, or maybe even no vowels, that I think Ket's got to be worth it. It also does score 6 more points, which isn't a tiny number by any means. I guess you could also, now that I think of it, consider Kets, right? That is 12 more. And I mean, normally I wouldn't consider this, but the S is another consonant. I just really don't enjoy putting an S in this spot if I don't really have to. Usually I won't do this unless the tile that's the K right now is like a J, Q, X, or Z. It's generally just not worth it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just play Ket, I think. I don't want to spend too much more time on this opening rack. Okay, well that certainly worked out well for us. He plays Burgoo, and we're going to be bingoing this turn. We've got Graddens and Darings, I believe. So I think, unless we have anything to this E, Readings, Derains. No, I don't think anything fits. I guess just Darings or Graddens. Does it really matter? I think, let's see, so we're floating GRAD with Graddens versus DARI with Darings. Is that right? Yeah. I guess the G is probably a little better to float than the I, so why don't we do Graddens? Okay, he responds with X's. Oh, I guess I could have also played Grandsir through this R, I'm just realizing now, but Graddens looks fine. I mean, Grandsir opens up plenty in its own right, and it scores, I think, 3 less points, so I should have probably at least thought about that before I hit my clock, but Graddens is totally fine anyway. Okay, so we've got, this isn't that bad, because we have big plays coming here with Axe now. Certainly Cave is an option. That's not terrible. I'm wondering if we have a play like Valve that gets rid of both of our Vs. Probably not. Or at least not that goes in this spot and scores so well. Yeah, V, yeah, unfortunately things like this don't work. Yeah, probably just Cave. I mean, it's 50 points. ELV isn't that bad. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, he's definitely having some rough draws here with the tiles. He goes ahead and plays Corn. Little consonant heavy for us here. I'd love to get rid of the V and at least one of our other 3 higher point tiles. We can score a bit with Chic here. 33. BELV, of course, not the best leave, but it is still 33 points. And I don't see a ton of other options off the top of my head. Don't see anything through this okay. Choke is pretty bad. Certainly Chic is better. Yeah, I just don't see a good way to get rid of this V. Oh, actually, wait, we have Vetch. Yeah, Vetch is solid. So it's, what is it, 7 points less than Chic? BIL is a lot better than BELV, though. Vetch is probably a little bit better. It's also, well, is it more defensive? Because it closes off part of this, well, it closes off this N, the E, and the T. It does make this line a bit easier to hit, because before he'd need to hook that with an M, and now he can hit it with a or an E, starting a 7-letter bingo there. So it's a little bit easier for him to hit that lane. At the same time, it's also a little bit easier for me to block. So it sort of cuts both ways. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't like keeping the B and the V together. And there's plenty of E's left to draw, so I'm not too worried about spending my E as opposed to my I. I'm probably going to go ahead and play Vetch. I have a feeling the computer is going to say Sheik is a little bit better on static. But I don't know, BV, with plenty of high point constants still to draw Fs, Ws, and stuff, it just really could turn south fast. So I'm going to go ahead and... yeah, I think I'm going to go play Vetch. Okay, he plays Twirl. This is okay, not terrible. Nothing to the G, unfortunately, as far as I know. Maybe just Crib? Yeah, I don't see a good way for us to really score much. We don't have an A for bilinear. Maybe there's something here with, like, Lexes or Rexes, too. I guess we have things like Grail for 24, but I don't like giving back that S hook. Of course, Glare is even more of a problem because it takes an E. And I do set up my own E, but there's 5 unseen, so I'm up a bingo here. I'm up 60. I don't need to be making openings like that. So Crib is an option. I do open up this B, but that's not that easy to hit. Could also play Bree over here for 24. Not a terrible idea either, just because it opens less. But keeping that E is nice, though, just for extra balance. And I have to assume he's going to probably play from this C sooner or later, so I probably shouldn't worry too much about going there, since that opening will be created sooner or later. I could also maybe play something like Lib here, just to obstruct both the Axe hook and this hook over here. Of course, he could still just bingo underneath Lib, but the good thing is if he bingos there, he'll probably be scoring a little bit less and also giving back big plays on the bottom for me next turn. So I'd probably rather he bingos there if he's going to bingo. It's just, I think it's too big a point sacrifice. There's still plenty of other places he can bingo on this board. Although, I mean, I guess there are there really, though? Because, I mean, where else is he bingoing after Lib, other than under this V? I mean, if he bingos through, like, this T or to this G, he's really not scoring a lot. If he bingos, I guess he could hook Corns. Yeah, that's probably his best bet. If he has an S, he could just hook Corns. And that's going to score a lot. I don't have a great way of dealing with that Corn spot. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Crib also saves the L for Axel. I think at this point in the game, with 2 blanks, it's just too big a point sacrifice to play Lib over Crib. So I'm going to go ahead and play Crib. Alright, he plays Info. Oh man, beelined. Almost fits. He blocked it. OL is no good, otherwise beelined would be really, really sweet. And beelined almost fits here too, but not quite. So it does not look like we will be bingoing this turn, so probably just settle for something like Diane. Looks decent. Scores 29, keeps EL. Definitely better than something like Needle. E's are starting to get scarce. There's only 3 left with still like half the game to play. The Diane looks pretty good. Of course, it gives back a lot of good overlaps, but I need to address this spot because he could score 50 or 100 if he bingos very easily. So yeah, I think Diane is alright. Alright, he plays Font. And are we bingoing? We have Pollute. Oh, I think Plug Hole is good, right? Pretty sure that's good. Hope I'm not making that up. But let's see, do we have any? We have Outspell. That doesn't work. A, B, C. I don't think I have any other 7s. Not that I'm seeing, at least, off the top of my head. Yeah, I think I'm going to play plug hole. Okay, it is good. I was like 90% sure. I wasn't 100%. It's pretty low prop. Doesn't come up too often, so glad to see that stay on the board. Of course, phonying HastyBot is one of the most ill-advised things you can do. At least, of course, if you know it's phony, since don't believe he has ever accepted a phony, which is certainly not something I don't think any other human player, even the great Nigel Richards, can say. So definitely not a good time to phony, and thankfully that is a word. Okay, so now we're up 100. So at this point, his path into the game is going to be bingoing twice or hitting some sort of crazy triple-triple. Of course, this Soja spot is pretty potent for him. I just don't see a great way of dealing with it. I mean, I could play something like Ware for 7, which I might actually do. Because I can't really score that much more, can I? Grimer, that's no good. Do I have a spot for like Wyrier or something? No, I can't play Limeier because that puts an R in the triple lane. But maybe Leary. How about Leary here? That actually looks really nice. Because it gets rid of both of my eyes. The W is actually not the worst tile now in my position because it's good for scoring, which is it's generally nice to keep good scoring tiles when you have a lead. That way, if your opponent bingos, you can just outrun. And Leary does not take an S, so he could bingo to this R, but that'll be pretty easy for me to block with a play maybe next to plug hole or to this R next turn. And I really want to take out this Soja spot because he could easily hit Dozius to there for like 120, and that's probably his best path back into the game. So yeah, I'm going to go with Leary here. This actually looks pretty strong. The computer's going to hate it, but just given the position, I think it looks quite solid. Oh, and we got the other blank. Okay, yeah, this is turning into a bit of a bagging here. Midwater with an I or an A, but no luck here. So we're up still over 70. What is best? Getting a little low on time as well. Yeah, I don't have a lot of great plays here. Do I have any way to get rid of my... I don't want to open here. Huh. I might just have to play off 2 constants with something like out. I just don't see another way to get rid of my W very effectively. I don't have enough vowels to really make an effective block, I don't think, either of this R. I mean, I guess I could just drop like an M. Maybe that's best, because if I play out and he bingos to this R, like if I don't get anything good with my blank, I could potentially be in some trouble. Oh, I gotta rush too, I'm getting low on time. Huh. Yeah, I think let's just leave that open. Let's live on the edge a little bit here, I think. So let's go ahead and play out. Maybe we'll be able to bingo there next turn. Alright, so he plays Ample. That takes an E, right? So I'm going to play Eardrum, and that should put the game away. Do I have anything here above it? Like Remudas? Doesn't quite work. Duramen, Maunder, Unarmed. Don't think so. Alright, let's just... Yeah, Bermuda is no good. It's only good with an S. So let's just play Eardrum. Alright, and we have 7 vowels, but as long as I don't flag, we should be just fine. I don't know here. Does he have an out bingo through this U? I don't think so. Does Distant play?
I don't think so. A twirl is no good, so I shouldn't need to block this. We should be fine. Let's just play Joe. Alright, yeah, I'm not playing this endgame optimally, but I just need to not flag. He'll probably go out, but that's okay. Oh, he won't, and we'll go here.
Okay. So 447 to 335, our win. Definitely drew better than the bot this game. Both blanks towards the end. I think I had, I guess like two of the S's, and was able to do pretty well too with just with my racks in general. And it seemed like he was struggling a lot with his balance. So I think I'm not sure I played perfectly at the end there. Probably my end game wasn't great, but I think under the time pressure we did certainly well enough. But let's see earlier on if we missed anything. Yeah, so not at all surprised, right, that the computer likes Kets, and maybe it is just better here. I mean, I do score 12 more and get rid of an extra consonant. Of course, the S is still technically a consonant. Excuse me, so there is something to be said for that. I don't know. Like I said, I pretty much never will do this unless, of course, I'm playing like the Z or the X when I'm scoring 20 more points by playing the S. It just gives back so much to your opponent with this S line, and you're also setting up your S nicely if you play Ket in one of the other spots. In this case, I don't know. Maybe DGS just really is bad enough that I should have just played Kets. It's certainly possible. Yeah, maybe I don't know, because it is 12 more points, so that may very well be good enough. I'd probably want to sim this on Quackle. Normally, I don't love sims towards the end of the game, but earlier on in the game, they can be pretty reliable, especially on opening racks. So I would probably put this one through Quackle and see what it says and trust that. But I could believe that Kets is better. So in fact, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna export this to Quackle, and then I'll run the sim and leave it running for the rest of the game while I analyze, and this way afterwards we'll be able to see what the results are of the sim. So let me just move the webcam over to show you guys what I'm going to do. So it's really, I open vertically, but of course it's symmetrical. So we'll just do a 4-ply sim and see what it comes up with. So yeah, as you can see, they're kind of waffling early on, but you need a lot more iterations than this to trust a sim. So we're going to minimize Quackle, go back to our analysis, and then at the end of the game, we'll come back to that and see what it says. Because I'm interested to see what the correct play would have been there. But in any case, we went with Ket. Burgu looks pretty solid for him. Not a good rack, so good to just clean it up and dispose of as many tiles as possible. And we started off with a bad play, missing Brigands through this B, so go us. That's very sloppy. I saw Grandmaster right after I hit my clock, but I somehow just didn't look through this B. Not really sure why. I literally just never even looked at the B. I'm quite confident I would have seen it if I looked there, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. But that's pretty sloppy. Of course, this is better. It's 5 more points and doesn't give back all of the floaters in the same spot. So this is a pretty sizable mistake early on. X's down here looks good for him. Yeah, Cave seems pretty much forced. I mean, I could play. Actually, yeah, no. Lave is certainly worse. I mean, the C is nice, but it certainly doesn't go well with the V. So yeah, Cave looks quite solid. Yeah, rough draw for the bot here. He drew like Q and N R, I think, out of the pool or something like that. Yeah, Corn. I mean, it's ugly, right? Blocks your lanes, keeps L and T, but it's still 15 points, and it gets rid of the Q. So I think he's got to do it. And let's see, Glaive. I didn't look at Glaive, but I can't say I would have done it. I mean, it is a nice play. It scores pretty well, and BCH, it has decent scoring potential, but it also has potential to turn into something very consonant heavy and tough to plod through. So not really a fan of it. Of course, the biggest reason I'm not a fan, and this probably goes without saying, is the huge line that opens down here when I'm already going to be up 100. So just not really a risk, I think, is necessary to take. I ended up going with Vetch over Sheik just to shed the extra clunky consonant. 7 points, but BV really are rough together, so I'd rather get rid of the V, keep things a little bit tighter. I think Vetch is perfectly fine here. He plays Twirl, another rough rack for the bot. This looks fine. I mean, he needs to score, and
FNT is not a good leave, but it's going to be hard for him to get a much better leave with this rack. So that looks fine. And did we miss another play here? Oh, I didn't see a Brevier. That's a cool play. Again, not correct in this position because I don't want to put an R in the triple lane when I'm going to be up almost 100. So crib is certainly a better play, but yeah, missing a lot of plays this game. So a little bit sloppy for sure. I should have at least seen that, and I would have dismissed it, but it's still something I should have at least seen and considered because it is the highest scoring play by a good margin in this position. So yeah, crib, not a mistake because crib is just a lot safer and keeps a better leave, but something that we should have considered. Info here, oof. I mean, I guess the question is he desperate enough to do this at this point in the game? And the answer may be yes. I mean, he's down 90. I don't know. It just gives back so much, though. And, like, even when you're down, you want to be careful about not being too reckless, because then if you just give your opponent an easy way to score, like, 50, you're just allowing them to compound their lead while also blocking at the same time. I just hate phone, too, though, because it blocks, or mostly blocks, his corn lane. Maybe font? Because then at least he can still hit something from corns, he can still hit something from the B. I hate fa, and NOST is too hard to work with. Maybe this phone, actually. Maybe this phone is better. Like, I don't like fishing either. I don't know. I think crib, after crib, I probably have a decent enough rack. Like, I only played 3 tiles, and I didn't score a ton, so I probably have a decent enough rack. I'm not going to have kept, like, UUWI with crib or something like that. There's no way. So I just feel like info is too likely to be used for a lot of points and really put him out of striking distance. I'd probably go with phone here. You really need to keep this corns lane open because with your S, it's one of your best and highest scoring bingo lines. Probably either this phone or font or what I would have done. Both of them grudgingly, but I think that's what you got to do here. Because now, I mean, I wouldn't have normally been scoring that much, and now I'm just getting an easy 30 points, and it could have easily been a lot worse for him, too. But no, he picks up the J. Oof, I mean, font here is pretty rough. You do not want to be keeping the J when you're down 100 and need to bingo. But, I mean, Soja here is, I guess, his best play with the J. Maybe, Taj is terrible because it blocks this lane as well, so I hate that. Maybe Josh, but you don't want to get rid of your S and block this lane either. Yeah, he just really does not have a lot of good options, kind of like last turn. And Soja, the nice thing at least about Soja is it scores a bit more and also does open another lane on the right. Of course, FNT is far from a great leave either. If he's going to go here, though, I'd probably rather see something like Fawn, just because it makes this lane a little bit easier to hit for him, maybe for the next turn once he does get rid of his J, whereas after Font, he could get a triple overlap, but that's a lot harder than just overlapping the first 2 tiles, or he has to start with a Val, which isn't that easy. So probably Fawn if he does go here, or Soja. I don't know. Both of them are pretty bad for their own reasons, so I can't really fault him for using this spot. And okay, but this is a clutch play at least by us here. Plug hole is the only playable bingo, and quite clearly the best play here. So yeah, now Soja seems, I guess, forced. I mean, he's got to score, and either way, it's looking extremely bleak for him. Maybe Joda just to blow things open and try to draw, like, I guess he can't even draw Kajiputs. I'm not sure what he could try to draw Majaguas next turn or something and hope I can't block. This may actually be his best shot at this point, because, I mean, Soja, you're still going to be down 100 without an S. This is going to be a brutal comeback. You're going to need 2 bingos, and with AAT, there's not that many spots either, so this is pretty bleak. I might have gone with Joda here, because it might not be that easy for me to block the J, and either I'll block the J here for not a lot, and then maybe you can draw something with, like, plug holes. That's going to be tough, though. I don't know. This E is not going to be easy to bingo through, and I guess I can just play above Joda pretty easily and block that. So maybe this doesn't really work so well. Yeah, I guess there just aren't enough opportunities on the right-hand side of the board for you to justify this, because it's too easy for me to block the J, now that I look at it. So yeah, I guess Soja here, but it's pretty rough. So yeah, not at all surprised to see Leary not show up in the equity choices. I saw Rit. I mean, EIMR doesn't really do anything for me on this board, because there's nowhere for me to bingo without an S, pretty much.
And I would much rather block this lane, because like I said, what's his best way to get back into the game? It's to bingo for a lot of points once. It's going to be a lot easier for him than bingoing twice, and his best spot to do that is easily with Sojas. If you look, Doziest or things like that are very much in the pool, and there's also a blank, and that would score like 120, 130 points. So I think I need to take care of that possibility, and Leary does a great job of doing that without giving a ton back. So that looks pretty good. Yo here. Payout is interesting just to open up a little bit more. Problem is it's not that hard for me to block this T, and then you're sort of relying on bingoing through this Y or this O, and it probably wouldn't even score enough anyway, so I think he's got a score here, so Yo looks fine. Maybe if you can draw something really good next turn. I don't even know, though. AAPTU, what's that bingoing with? Yeah, it's going to be... I don't even know what he'd need to draw to bingo. It's going to be really tough. The payout seems pretty bleak as well. Like I said, if I can just block this T, maybe you hope that I drew really badly after Leary and can't really deal with this T. But even this small little weak block here is just going to score 12, and I'll be up 100. So I think it's just really bleak for him, whatever he does. I can't really fault either play. Mew here maybe is just fine. I wasn't dying, though, to give back easy 40-point plays here that could get him within one bingo range. And then if I draw a bunch of constants, I could actually be in some trouble. So I don't think Mew looks great, or Wed. Wheel, I didn't see that. It scores a bit more. I really... With these kind of situations when you're up a lot and just sort of need to leave yourself flexibility to play defense, though, keeping 4 constants is a really scary situation, because then if you draw all constants, you leave yourself vulnerable to setups and just inability to block lanes. So I think it's really important for me to keep my Val. Derm is fine. I think out is fine too. I mean, it doesn't score much, but it keeps a great leave, so I'll have a good chance at bingoing next turn. Or if somehow he does bingo, I should still have enough flexibility to hold on. Or if he opens anything, I'll be able to hopefully bingo in that spot, or just block it and deal with it appropriately. So I think out is okay here. He plays Eampool, which looks fine. I mean, he's got his score, and it does open something. Of course, I have the blank, and I'm able to use it quite easily there. And at this point, the game is basically over, and I'm running out of time, so I won't go over this in too much detail. Yeah, Joe looks fine. Of course, I have 7 vowels, so I'm going to have quite limited options, but I knew there were no bingos he could play here, so that looks good. And then ads, and I guess I missed. Although Pained is probably worse because it gives him TDs to go out, so probably Apian is actually fine here, since I guess I didn't have time to realize this, but I guess he doesn't actually have an out in this position, so Apian may be best. And he plays Sit, and I go out with Pine. He probably should have blocked this with just TI or something like that, or Tuts perhaps through this U. But in any case, we go out, and a nice win for us, 112 points. Overall, okay game. Graddens was really sloppy, just completely whiffing on Brigands from that B, which is pretty uncharacteristic miss for me. I don't know why. I just somehow didn't even really look up there in that part of the board. But after that, I think we played pretty well. Plug Hole was a nice find, only bingo there. And I think Leary was a good play. So overall, I'm okay with this game. Racing Brigands is really just a bad mistake for me, so not happy about that. But overall, glad to get the win, and we now improve to 17-10. But before we close off this video, as promised, let's go back to Quackle here and see what it's saying about this opening rack we were talking about earlier. So once again, the question here I was wondering is whether I should play Ket or Kets for 12 more, which does shed the S, but keeps 1 less consonant at the expense of opening up this lane. And we're now at 2,500 iterations, which is a bit more reliable, and it's looking like it's very close. Kets is edging Ket out by about 1 point valuation and about half a point in win percentage, which isn't too shocking to me. So yeah, I guess maybe Kets is slightly better in this position. I generally say in these kind of racks, when in doubt, hold on to the S, just because it has much better long-term value, because like even if you don't use it this turn, then you could maybe use it next turn or a few turns down the road. So I'd say these plays are pretty close. I wouldn't call either of them a mistake given that result, but interesting to see that Quackle does slightly prefer spending the S. So that's it for this game, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to leave any suggestions or other ideas in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you very soon for game number 28. Thanks, guys.